The voices of women in prison are often quieted, even silenced. With determination, courage, and resilience, the inmates at the Women's Correctional Center of Hawaii wanted to speak. These are a few of their personal and compelling stories.
What led me to criminality as a child, I started as a child, was I needed to feel a sense of belonging. I always wanted attention. I didn't have that in my home. I was always looking for some kind of guidance, and I went to all the wrong places. I was raised in a ghetto part of Mililani on Oahu, and I started hanging out with people a lot older than me, and they wanted me around for all the wrong reasons. I was like an easy target for them to do their dirty work, in which at the time I thought, I was it, you know. They want me to do these things for them, and I was a child at this time, and I felt accepted, and you know, one thing led to another, and I got hooked into that lifestyle, and I became my worst enemy, you know. Eventually, I got pregnant at the age of 14, actually 13, and I gave birth to my first child when I was 14 years old. I was a ward of the state myself. I was in CPS growing up, so when I gave birth as a child, my child also became a temporary ward of the state. So I was just going through my changes in life and trying to, you know, went from being a kid to a mother. So I kind of missed my whole teenage life, and I just jumped into being a parent and trying to live my life as an adult, as a child. I'm 30. Tomorrow I make 32. I've been in and out of prison since I was 12 years old. I don't think I stayed out of prison longer than 2 years out of my whole, since 12 up until now. When I was 18, I moved to the mainland. I got married to a Marine. Didn't last too long. I didn't stay married for more than a year. Flew back home. I started using drugs in the mainland. And let's see. Well, actually, I have 3 children now. They all got adopted. My 2 babies, 10 and 12, live in Vegas, and my oldest one is down here. He's 17 now. He's kind of falling into the same steps as me. For me, you know, I learned a lot about myself in prison. Actually, you know, I've been here since 2011, my original sentence was only 5 years. They released me to furlough, and I was there for about 5 months, and they were going to send me back to prison for being in a relationship with a federal body. So I split. I ran, and I got caught 99 days later, and they sentenced me to 5 more years. So I've been in prison for almost going on 9 years on an original 5-year charge. So recidivism was me, you know. I didn't even make it to parole, and I picked up another 5 years. So I'm at the ending of my sentence now. So right here now I'm in prison for escape in a 2nd degree. I already maxed out 4 years ago on my original 5-year charge. So, you know, I just look at it as I wasn't ready for the real world. I had a lot I needed to work on. You know, when I first came to prison, I did all my programming immediately. I graduated everything I needed to, but I think I was just looking for the easy way out. I just wanted to do what was expected of me so I could just get out of prison earlier, and it didn't work, you know. I guess I faked it to make it, and I thought I made it, but it was just, I wasn't ready. I didn't really take the time to internalize everything I learned. I was just doing it for all the wrong reasons because I wanted to get out of prison as soon as possible. But now I had time to reflect and think about what my real reason of being in prison is, and focus on self. And now, I'm just trying to make progress. In 2 months, I'm up for parole for the first time, and I'm excited. And I think what do I feel I need to change my life is, first and foremost, I need to learn how to love myself. Because if I can love myself, then everything after that will fall into place. It's my biggest downfall. This is not my home.
I was born in North Carolina to a Hawaiian mother and an African American father. My mother danced hula on the East Coast, which is how she met my dad. We lived in North Carolina till I was about 7 or 8, which is when I was molested by my cousin. After that, we left my dad in North Carolina and came to Hawaii. That's when all the other troubles began. We went from house to house, staying with family and friends. And through those years, my mom managed to provide for us by working 2 jobs. When I was like 10, we had started drinking. And by 11, I had started smoking marijuana. I was very rebellious as a teenager. I started skipping school my senior year. I started seeing an older woman, 14 years my senior. That lasted about 6 years. She was important to my life because she had our son. We eventually broke up. I was still working, and that's where I met the love of my life. We had a great relationship. In February of 2002, I started using methamphetamine. That was the beginning of my downward spiral. I began selling drugs a year or 2 before I went to San Diego. That's where I caught my first charge, possession of an illegal narcotic. I was arrested and taken to Las Colinas Women's Prison, where I was released shortly thereafter and put on probation. So I came back home to Hawaii. I got into another relationship, which happened to be my former girlfriend's cousin. That led to physical violence between me and the family, which went both ways, and eventually I ended up in prison. I did almost 6 years. I got out in October of 2019 on parole and sent to a program. And eventually I relapsed and they put me back in prison. Okay, so when I get pushed and pushed and pushed constantly, or I feel like something is wrong, I can get violent. Since going to prison, though, I have learned to let things go. Today, I no longer resort to physical violence. Music is my way of coping. I love it. I should have known right from the start, the very first day when I gave you my heart. The love we had, it wouldn't last. Oh no, oh no. But I remember when we fell in love, it was sweet bliss and from heaven above. But before I knew it, we were falling apart. I sit and blame you, sit and blame me. No matter what we do, we can't seem to agree. It's just this endless silly game that we play. All we do is fight, it be blowing my mind. Can't seem to fight this feeling I'm feeling inside. What we had, I put it all in the past. Now all I got to say for that is, I think it's time for both of us to keep it real. Keeping it real, keeping it real. Cause you and me together just wasn't the deal. Oh no, oh no. If only you were real with me then, the way I was real with you then, you wouldn't have lost this good thing. If only you could keep it real. If only you could keep it real. two steady jobs. One of my jobs is working with the homeless youth, and it's very rewarding. They need to know that people care about them. My hope is that none of them ever go to prison.
I can't ever remember a time when sewing and fabric and art wasn't a part of my life. My mother was a fashion designer, so I grew up in a garment factory. I've been sewing for as long as I can remember. My mom always wanted to like instill great work ethic in her children, so nothing was ever given. We had to earn by sewing labels. She also taught me the art of customer service by letting me work in her shops with her and teaching me how to sell and how to market your product. So I was able to learn a lot. That just taught me all of those skills as well as teaching me that work ethic at a very young age. I guess underwhelmed is a good word of the public school system. The 10th grade, I was telling all this to my mother. I said, I just don't really want to go back there. She said, what do you want to do? I said, well, I want to open my own dress shop and I'm going to use, I had like two main patterns that I had designed myself. I said, I'm going to use these as a basis and I'm going to do this. So she said, well, go pass the GED and then I'll help you do it. So I did. I went up and passed the GED and she helped me start that business. It was called Starshine, and I did custom and off-the-rack resort wear for women. It was like a really good feeling when you just make a woman feel beautiful. So I had the store for 7 years. In that time, I had gotten married and then gotten divorced, and I needed a change. I'd gotten into trying to start this business and gotten swindled out of that business and a lot of money, and I was left broke. My self-confidence was extremely low. And at the time, my neighbor gave me some cocaine to sell, so just so I could pay my rent. I just did that. That was easier than finding a job and having to admit to failure and explain to people why I wasn't doing this business. A little over a year after that, I was in prison. It's very easy to just give up on life after getting locked up. There's not enough opportunity for rehabilitation. There's not enough opportunity to build life skills while you're inside. A lot of opportunity to just be an inmate and just be that person. You get into the state where you're depressed, blanket Medicaid in there. Everybody's because they're low, you have anxiety or you have this or you have that, or we'll just give you these drugs and keep you medicating and keep you in this like comatose state because it's easier for them to deal with women in a coma than it is to deal with women with an opinion. Because what can you do? You can't fight. You can just be, and it's hard. And it can be hard to break out of that. Even when you get out, it can still be hard to get out of that mindset of like being that depressed and what do I do now? And now I'm a felon, and now what can I do with life? It wasn't always easy, but every day I reminded myself, this is not your life. This is not who you are. This is just what's happening right now. And this too shall pass. You've got to work hard at staying positive and knowing you have this label. It's not going to stop you. If you want to take something good out of that prison experience, you've got to work hard at it. I was really lucky while I was in there. I was able to earn a culinary degree. I am using that culinary degree. I work in a really amazing kitchen where I get to learn new things. What's really important is for women when they get out to regain acceptance of themselves, because if you regain acceptance of yourself and you are able to show that and verbalize that, I think that it's a lot easier for other people to accept you if you can just show that, hey, yes, I did this, I accept it, now you should accept it. And I find that most people have. I just want to try and lead by example and show other women, if I can do this, so can you. Anything is possible. Prison is not the end. it can be the beginning of something way better. You just got to believe in yourself. You can believe that, then it becomes true.
More than 740,000 women are in prison around the world. 200,000 of them are in the United States. In the last 40 years, the rate of female incarceration has risen by an alarming rate of 700%. The United States accounts for over 30% of incarcerated women in the world, yet has only 5% of the world's female population. Hawaii locks up a higher percentage of people than wealthy democracies like the United Kingdom, Canada, and France. Though Native Hawaiian residents make up approximately 20% of the state's population, they comprise more than 40% of Hawaii's inmates. Since 1970, the number of women in Hawaii prisons has increased more than 14-fold. 75% are mothers. 40% are Native Hawaiians and Pacific Islanders. 60% are child survivors of physical violence, mental abuse, and sexual assault. In 2021, it cost Hawaii taxpayers over $238 per day to house one inmate. Each year, the cost increases. The sustained and significant rise in women's incarceration is of profound concern. Female prisoners are extremely vulnerable, with histories of poverty and trauma. Instead, it causes further victimization for women and their families, suffering for their children, financial burden, shame, increased trauma, social and emotional degradation, and more.